Okay, I'm going to show you the 4 ways to solve quadratic equations. The first one I'm going to show you is factoring. So let's take an example problem that you would solve using factoring. So 2x squared plus 6x plus 7 equals 3. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is subtract 3 from both sides so that we get 2x squared plus 6x plus 4 equals 0. Then we're going to factor it so that we have two quantities in parentheses. So we know that on one side is going to be 2x and on the other x, and that's where we get the x squared from. And then we need a number that multiplies to 4 but adds to 6. And we know it's going to be plus on both sides. And so 2 multiplied by 2 plus 2 equals 6, and 2 times 2 is 4. So that is how I got those numbers. And then, since either of these need to equal 0 for the whole quantity to multiply to 0, we can set each quantity in the parentheses to 0. So first we have 2x plus 2 equals 0. And then we subtract 2 from both sides, so 2x equals negative 2. And then we divide by 2, and we get x equals negative 1. And then we do the same thing for the other quantity. So x plus 2 equals 0. And then we subtract 2 from both sides, and we get x equals negative 2. So both of these are our final answers for x. The next method for solving a quadratic equation I'm going to show you is the square root method. Here's an example of a problem that we would solve using the square root method. X minus 3 squared equals 12. So to solve this one, we're going to take the square root of both sides so that we end up with x minus 3 equals the square root of 12. Then we just add 3 to both sides, so we get x equals 3 plus or minus, because a square root can be positive or negative, the square root of 12. The next method I'm going to show you is completing the square. So an example of a problem that you would solve by completing the square is x squared plus 6x minus 4 equals 0. Now the first thing we're going to do is add 4 to both sides. So we get x squared plus 6x equals 4. Then, to figure out what number needs to go after the 6x on the left side of the equation, we're going to divide 6 in half. So 6 divided by 2 is 3. And then square it. 3 squared is 9. So then we're going to add 9 to both sides. So x squared plus 6x plus 9 equals 4 plus 9. Then we can factor this, which it's going to come to a perfect square. So It's going to be x plus 3 squared equals 13. Then we can take the square root of both sides, and we get x plus 3 equals the square root of 13. And then our final answer is going to be x equals negative 3 plus or minus, because the square root can be positive or negative, the square root of 13. The next way I'm going to show you to solve a quadratic equation is using the quadratic formula. So every quadratic equation follows this pattern: ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. And then every answer can be found using this equation. X equals the square root X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, and then all of that over 2a. So using this formula I've just shown you, we're going to solve an equation. So here's our equation. X squared plus 3x minus 7 equals 0. So b is 3, so negative 3 plus or minus the square root of b squared, so 3 squared minus 4a, which is 1, and c, which is negative 7, and then all of that over 2a, which is 1. So then that comes to, and all of that equals x. And so then that comes to x equals negative 3 plus or minus the square root of 9 plus 28 over 2. And then that comes to x equals negative 3 plus or minus the square root of 37 over 2. And that is the lesson.